So how did you start being creative? Like, what was your start?
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up, all my family are quite creatives. So I actually grew up in like a log cabin in the woods. That was where I started. I actually remember like from a very early age, just like doing my own run of birthday cards. Like that was something that I really wanted to like make birthday cards. I don't know. And then I obviously really enjoyed art at school. And then I started really liking photoshopping. I think it was like a classic teenage thing, like photoshopping pictures of boys I fancied,
Yeah.
like cards, like photoshopping Christmas cards. Like every year I used to make like a whole range of cards, and I used to like proud myself on making like the best cards. And then I realized that was actually like a job, so that was graphic design.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went off to uni. I went to college, studied graphic design, then went to university, studied graphic design, and then like kind of halfway through my course, I was like, I actually really hate graphic design. I think I just like the art of making more than anything. Like I like the process. I do like graphic design, but for me, it's been quite eye-opening the last few years to just kind of enjoy the actual making process more than the outcome. I think for me, as a child and making stuff, you're just making stuff because you want to make it and you want to make people happy, and you want to make like birthday cards for people because you want to see their surprise as they like open the envelope. And I think like going to university and stuff like that actually kind of dampened that a little bit for me.
I feel exactly the same. When I have to do a project for uni, it's so much more difficult rather than doing it for yourself. It's like
Yeah,
when I do a project for myself, it's like there's no pressure, there's no, I don't know even how to explain it, but I completely get you. It's kind of like that university sort of like dampens it.
yeah, definitely. And I think I really don't get me wrong, absolutely loved university. I went to UE in Bristol and studied graphics there, and it's kind of like a bit of an alternative course. I didn't really, but that's sounding just really naive, and I think that's just, I don't know, like I'm 25 and I feel like this is kind of like maybe more of what, I don't know, a lot of people I'm from Devon, and I just kind of really wanted to get out of Devon, and I know a lot of people who did the same, and I started studying graphics and I really enjoyed it, and my course was really well suited for me because it was kind of a bit alternative. We did a lot of like protest art and things like that, or like we would make films, we'd make costumes, we'd do performance. It was like very like, there wasn't actually really that much graphic design in it, but I think if you've only ever gone from school to school and then into uni, when you finish uni, it's kind of like, what now? Like what's the brief? Like what's the expectation? You're kind of like used to creating work that has to fit like a guideline, like
Yeah,
or a marking
definitely.
system. And it kind of sets you up to be really anxious, to be honest. Sets you up for like quite a few. I mean, it's not everybody has this, but I've spoken to quite a lot of people from my course and a lot of other creative people, and I know a lot of other people who've gone from college to uni and then left and felt kind of quite naked almost.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, you told me about your 4-year slump. So tell me more about that because when you said that, that was really interesting and I wanted to find out more because I'm in third year university. So, that time is approaching for me, like what was going to happen after uni for me? What am I going to be doing? Like, yeah.
I think you'll be fine, to be honest, because you're obviously being proactive with this podcast. So I think that's a good.
It's a great project to be doing.
Yeah, definitely, especially at the moment, and reaching out to people. I think if I was to give any advice, because I used to work at university as well, I worked with third years. Yeah, I worked with third years on the graphic design course as a student support assistant for a year. And I think the best advice is just reaching out to people, especially at the moment, because you can't really like network. I did really well in my course, I got first, but I didn't like really reach out to anyone. I've kind of had that kind of arrogance and like hoping that someone would approach me or like kind of complaining about not getting work, but also not applying for anything at the same time. Like getting angry about like, well, not getting angry, just getting upset that like I was passing by opportunities, but I wasn't actually applying for anything.
That's the kind of impression I had when I came to university. It's like, well, after that is I'm just gonna graduate and then like the job will come to me, or like someone will find me, reach out to me, but it's literally nothing like that.
No, you have to really work for it. I was quite lucky in that. So the first year after I graduated, I didn't touch graphics at all. I did some freelance, and I felt, I really enjoyed my course, but I felt kind of almost a little bit traumatized by graphics, because I like, with anything that I do, I get quite like obsessive with it and I won't stop. So like my final year of uni, I just wasn't like sleeping, I wasn't eating, I like basically was like emaciated, is that the word? Malnourished anyway. I was like pale skin, like getting up at like 6 a.m, working till like 3 p.m, like every day, living off of beans and rice and like sweet corn and just eating hot chocolate powder out of the tub. And I was just like, this was so horrible that I kind of at the end I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to do that again. So I kind of didn't really do much for about a year, and then I got offered this job as a student learning support assistant. That was really fun because it just meant I got to work with students, and eventually I would like to learn to be a teacher or work within education. But I forgot to mention my main business. Yeah, when I finished uni, I was like, I can't do graphic design, and then I started my own pub quiz business.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So my 4-year slump was me. Ran pub quizzes and like fundraisers and quiz parties and things like that. But yeah, no, in a kind of metaphorical sense, like I did. So in 2017, I started working for, or 2018, I started working for a theatre in Devon as their graphic designer. And I did that for 2 years. And then last year, I started working for a theatre in Bath, doing graphic design there. So it tends to be kind of what I like to design. However, I felt like I wasn't making anything outside of work. I was only designing in work. And then when I finished, I wouldn't really want to like create anything for myself. So by my 4-year slump, I mean, I was creating, but I was creating for other people, which is fine. But I wasn't creating anything I like particularly enjoyed or felt passionate about. There wasn't really anything that like, there were pieces I liked for other people, but I wasn't anything I was like really excited about and had that kind of childlike giddiness. Like recently I've been drawing things and it's just been making me laugh, just making like literally just drawing things that are so stupid and silly, and just
it's when you do it for yourself, it feels so much different when you're doing it for someone else. It's great to have a job in the creative side, but you I see a lot of people like they do lose that touch with it being like your thing. It becomes like you're just doing it for someone else.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great because you're creatively stimulated at work. So like I wasn't upset or anything. I felt fulfilled in my life. But like there was still like something kind of missing. Like I still go home on the weekend and I'd feel, it sounds so stupid, but like I'd go to a festival or, you know, go to the pub or something on the weekend after like my week of work and feel fulfilled. I could have like a pint and like get a bit drunk with my friends. But now like I'm working freelance and I don't know when the next paycheck's going to come. I'm fulfilled because I'm making what I want to make and I'm drawing what I want to make. But if I get drunk with my friends now, it's like really stressful because it feels like it's not deserved. It feels like there's no security in my day to day. So like letting loose and like relaxing isn't really like an option. Because I think also because of the pandemic as well, there's no real like definition between like the days of the week, or like you could just work every day of the week, because like what difference does it make? Like it doesn't really matter. You could work on the weekend. It's not like you're going to go and see anyone, but like you still need to have like rest time and you still need to have like social time. You can't just work every single day, otherwise it's just like how you will have a burnout or mental break or whatever.
So how do you experience anxiety throughout your creativity? Because I would feel like, am I doing a great job? I don't know if I'm making this good enough for people. Like, why did they hire me out of so many other students at university that I feel like they're so much better than me?
Yeah, I think this is this problem that all creatives have. Like, I listen to and watch and read a lot of other creative stories and people with similar issues, and it's imposter syndrome and just you kind of, it sounds really corny, but you just have to really come to peace with like who you are as a creative, because if you're making work that doesn't feel genuine to yourself, like you always are going to hate it. I mean, I know from experience. So one of the jobs I worked in, I started off as maternity cover, maternity cover graphic design, which meant for the first year I had to create work that was like in the lady's style who I was covering for, because after the year she was going to come back. So it meant for a whole year I was creating work that was her style and not my style, which then kind of caused like a kind of crisis within myself, because it could just kind of like, I liked the work and I liked how it looked, but it was never quite right. Like it was never quite her style, and it was not mine either. So it kind of created like a kind of inner argument in my own head. And I definitely think imposter syndrome is a huge, massive issue. I think it's really hard not to kind of always think that someone could be doing the job better than you, and you kind of got to remember that you have been hired for this job. They did choose you. Like they could have chose someone else, but maybe you're providing something else that is better, or more suited for the role, or maybe sometimes they just like you better. Like sometimes it's just nicer to just work with someone who you get along with than necessarily having like the most amazing artist and they're just like a complete bastard. So
I guess you got to try and like build yourself up and get your self-esteem a bit more up. I really liked one of the quotes. I made it into, like I love this, what he said, the freelancing, I can't remember his name, on the workshop. He said, people know less than you. And I love that, because I was like, that is so true. I'm always surrounded by university students in my course, and I always feel like they know so much more than me. But then when I surround myself with different people, not from university, it's like, wait, oh, they actually don't know as much as I know about the sort of thing that I'm passionate about. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's only one of each of us. There's only one of every single person. So, like, no matter what you make, it will be you, and it will be different. Like, even if you like draw exactly, try and like copy someone else's work, it will still be like slightly different. I found that webinar. Really inspiring. I like came out, I was like, yes.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's been quite inspiring seeing. I think there's been a real kind of change in the support for creatives in each lockdown. I think it's been quite inspiring to see how people are really trying to lift each up in this lockdown. I think the first one, everyone was very much like, yeah, I'm gonna crochet, I'm gonna like do this, yes, we're all gonna get fit and healthy, we're gonna do yoga, and then the second one was kind of quite miserable, really, because it's kind of like the slump after like Eat Out to Help Out and just getting angry. And then this one has probably been the hardest so far, but it's also been quite interesting to see all of the kind of free resources for creative people and all the other kind of.
Yeah, I have noticed that there's a lot more, and I'm trying to join in, like whenever I see something, I'm trying to go to a webinar and join something. And I've definitely seen a notice in that. That's really good.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to build up your network and just like interact with other creators, because otherwise you just, how else are you going to have these conversations? Or if you're only surrounded by like your housemates or your like family or your immediate friends, like how are you going to like discuss things or even like come up with new opportunities.
When you had your job after university, did they find you or did you network?
So that job just basically came around because so I worked at the one in Exeter and I lived in Bristol, and I was commuting to Exeter every day or every few days, and that's like a 2-hour commute each way. So it was really horrible, and basically it was taking quite a toll on like my relationships and my partner. So it's been a bit of a mad year really. So I applied for this job in Bath because that's only like an hour away. I got the job in Bath, moved back to Bristol properly, and then 6 days in of my new job, lockdown happened. I'd gone, and also not even during the 6. I had 6 days, and then I went on holiday, and then I came back, and then we went straight into lockdown, and then I was working remotely from March until October, and unfortunately, I got made redundant from that job. They cut the whole art department of this theatre. And it's been replaced, so it's at Bath University, so they've replaced it with the student union, which is pretty miserable. And didn't tell anyone, and they just kind of cut our whole department. And then since then I've just been working freelance, doing the illustration, graphics and pub quizzes.
So what kind of anxiety do you get right now about what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Tell me more about like freelance.
Yeah,
because
of course.
One of the things that I would like to do after university as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think just being creative in general creates a lot of anxieties. I don't know if that's just like because it's like the typical, the stereotypical artist type. I don't know if that's just like, are anxious people just drawn to being creative, or like does creativity lead to anxiety? I don't know. Or is it like because in the UK we're kind of told that you can't make money from being creative, but then at the same time we see like the creative arts is like our biggest export. Like we're like at one side we're told artists don't make money, like you can't get a job, you can't have a job that you enjoy, you're gonna work in a factory or something.
But art is everywhere. Like it's been so eye-opening. It's literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Like film and TV and art and like fashion are just like some of the biggest exports of this country, but it's so like incredibly underfunded and uncared for. And I think a lot of my anxiety does come from just the fear of not really knowing whether I'm going to be able to do this job, whether I'm going to be able to work a job I enjoy. Because I think for me personally, I don't know if it's just like our generation have been kind of fucked over a little bit in the way that it's a really positive thing, but we've kind of been told that we can do whatever we want to do. And we have been fed this kind of like, if you work hard, then you can get anywhere you want to. But then on the other hand, that's not like really realistic. And we're also quite aware of that. Like we have access to knowledge. We are aware of the world, but we're also, I don't know, are we like a generation of dreamers? But then also like I couldn't imagine a life of not creating. So I think a lot of anxiety is external, but also like my own inner anxiety has definitely, I feel, held me back. And I think only until quite recently I kind of come to terms with my own kind of inner critic, if you will. Like I know it's so stupid because you would never, if your friend showed you a piece of their work, you would never say, like, you'd only ever be supportive. But like if you show yourself like a piece of your own work, your inner critic would be like, oh, you look at the brush stroke, that's so rubbish. I can't believe you've been doing this for like this long and you still haven't done this or whatever. Or like some days I'll like go on Instagram and I'll see like friends and they'll be doing something really amazing and I'll just like collapse in like a bathrobe on the floor and be like, oh, woe is me. But then like on the other hand, I've had friends come up to me and be like, Abby, what you're doing is really cool, I'm really intrigued. Or like I've had other people, like it goes both ways. And I think because of internet culture as well, we only ever see like a snippet of everyone's lives. We only see like the show reel, like the perfection. And I think that's also part of the problem with a lot of the design and creative industries is people only really show the good. There's not really like I mean, I think people are doing that a bit more now because we have like Instagram stories and you can kind of see like the rawness, but like I think there's a lot of emphasis on just showing like your best and showing
But
real. I mean, I
even
found
with even with
that.
when I see behind the scenes artists creating something, it's
Yeah.
still aesthetically pleasing, you know, it's in a beautiful space and like the artwork still looks fantastic, and even it's when it's not done. So even when we do see like the raw thing, it's still quite beautiful. I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Or like they still look gorgeous or whatever, and it's still not like that real. I know it's something I've found in my work because I do struggle quite a bit with anxiety and just low, like feeling low and things like that. But I find that a lot of my work's quite positive and quite like colourful and bright. And I don't know if that's just like my own inability to not kind of acknowledge these feelings or just like my own personal feel to like make my like socials and illustrations like super positive. I don't know. I think my own, I don't know if it's like an anxiety, I think it is an anxiety thing. It's like the kind of anxiety to like people please as well. Like you kind of sometimes just create things to make other people happy or like make, just to fully people please. I know that's definitely something I tend to do in my artwork.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, where do you see yourself going? I know you're doing a bit of freelancing now, so are you gonna carry on with that or?
Yeah, so yeah, I will be freelancing for the moment. I'm currently in the process of, well, freelance graphic design is my base. As far as I see it, it's consistent and it's something I've done since I was 15, so 10 years now. And I can make money from it, and that's great. But I kind of want to develop more into being an artist, that kind of side of things. And also, I have a lot of businesses, to be fair. I also want to develop my quiz business. That's something I've kind of come into a lot more recently. I really enjoy performing and creating like events and stuff. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I used to run a New Year's Eve event, obviously before COVID, with like performers and immersive decor and things like that. That's kind of the realm that I enjoyed doing. I like programming artists and programming nights and booking hotels and getting really into it. And it's been quite a lot of fun. This year would have been Jumanji themed, which would have been really fun. So I'm hoping that once we actually can, I would like to go back into kind of the more kind of events planning, performance side of things. I have currently writing my business plan. That was what that webinar inspired me to do, to set up my virtual quiz business. I'm basically going to be selling like me, basically I host quizzes and I have like a hat with like a question mark on a spring, and I wear like a cape that's covered in sequins, and I play saxophone, and I like I play it badly. People have to guess what I'm trying to play. That's and they play keyboard covers, but they're like really just really bad. Like I think of like an 80s kind of cheesy game show. Like that's kind of my dream, is I want to run my own cheesy 80s game show.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, so a lot of creativity.
Yeah, I have quite a lot of ideas. I have another one that I really want to do. Currently working on, actually this week, with another artist. We're so angry at the lack of public toilets in the country.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to start a project. We're calling it. We've got two working titles: it's Rest in Piss or A Pot to Piss In. We haven't decided yet. But we're gonna basically get loads of toilet seats and engrave them like gravestones and put them where all the the public toilets used to be, because I think it's actually really disgusting that the councils are getting rid of public loos, and I think we should make it disgusting back.
Yeah.
So like funeral flowers, maybe go on a piss protest.
I love that idea.
It's so good. I'm really looking forward to it. I kind of feel like, I know when I was at uni, I did a lot of like more experimental protest art and like did lots of I made like a David Cameron dartboard and things like that, and just like fun silly stuff, and I kind of lost that since leaving uni. I think like I had a few bad relationships, and just I finished at 21. I was just 21 and just wanted to party and go to festivals, which is fine, but kind of felt like I lost a bit of the fun in creating.
Mm. So what kind of advice would you for the viewers that will be watching, and for me that I'm in that sort of position, being 21 and finishing uni soon?
I mean, honestly, you will be fine. Even if you think, just try not to be. It's hard not if it's not your character, but try not to be overly dramatic like myself and thinking that the world is ending all the time, because it's exhausting. And you're fine. Like, you just need to reach out to people when you need help. And the best thing is honestly networking and chatting and building friendships of people who are creative and can help you out. Like, because you do photography.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep on doing it. Do it for yourself. And if you haven't got work, just like make work, like make projects that you want to do, like set up a website, or just join like Facebook groups and things like that as well, like Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, TikTok. Just keep on producing and reaching out and collaborating as well. Like, if you have anyone that you really want to work with, actually just email them. They might not get back to you, but if you want to do a project, yeah. 100%. I mean, I actually managed to get a photography job after I finished uni. It was really weird. My Facebook friend was like, anyone a photographer? And I was like, me. And I got a job for a whole year photographing the inside of a bridge. That was
cool.
Yeah, it's weird. You can find these jobs anywhere. Like, they just kind of crop up. And as long as you're happy to be flexible and just take the risk and go for it, then I'm sure it will work out.
And I'm sure you need a lot of patience as well.
Definitely. And confidence is the best thing, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to find. Believing in yourself and feeling confident, and also getting someone to look over your CV before you send it out. Getting someone to spell check, or like make sure that it like actually makes sense. I mean, if you actually enjoy doing photography, I would just carry on doing that. And try not to just copy people's style as well, because it looks good at that time. Like, I know I went through a phase of just adding loads of grain to everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of like establishing this sort of style that I have throughout Instagram. But it's still very. I have been doing it for quite a long time, but it's always experimenting. It's always finding something new. It's changing as well throughout time. So you got to get with the trends and everything. So that's always a bit difficult, but yeah.
Please don't ever think that I hated on uni. I actually really, really loved it. I loved it so much that I worked there, and I want to work at university. And I think universities are great. And I feel so angry how universities are being treated at the moment during the pandemic. I think it's not fair. And I think as a creative person, like, you've got to be really tough. So good on you.
I think it's not the university's problem. It's it's more the government. The university can't really do much. Like,
they can't.
Yeah.
Like, I know I got to like a point when I was at university, and it like just all of a sudden clicked, and I knew like what I needed to do to get the marks. And it wasn't like necessarily because I wanted to create the work. I was just like, okay, I know that my like tutor knows this or whatever, and I know like how I can do it like that. And then like when you finish, then you're like, yeah, if I make art, it's got to have meaning, or like, because everything in my course was quite like political, and which was great. It was really good to be thinking like that and making work that you think is going to change the world. That's really exciting, and I think that is really important. But then it also meant that, like, for me, when I finished, it was like, if I create something, it has to be good, and it has to say something, and it has to be a whole piece. It has to make a point, otherwise it's pointless. Like, and then because of that, it meant that I wasn't creating anything. So I felt like I've got to make something political, and I've got to make something that's shouting and angry. And like, quite frankly, like, being angry all the time is also quite exhausting. Like, if you're constantly like, and we do need to. It is good to say things, and it is good to fight for causes you believe in, absolutely. But if you're got mental health problems and you are struggling, sometimes it's just not the best thing to be doing, because it just sends you into a kind of anxiety spiral, because like you're just constantly kind of feeding the fire of like your own personal anxiety by just constantly, it's like the whole, like everything happening at the moment, I had to just stop reading the news every day, because when it first happened, when the virus first came over, I was reading the news like every single day, like counting the numbers, like reading the numbers, and I just have had to stop. Like it's just not good for us to just be consistently consumed by the media or the news, or feeding our own anxieties all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And the news really triggers that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as artists, we have this ability to change the world.
Yeah, we have the ability to change the world for
Yeah.
sure. And I think it's really good to make art that does, but you can't pour from an empty vessel. So if you're feeling shit or whatever, if you are having a mental break or anxiety or a burnout, ultimately it's good to look after yourself first and then build up until you are in a place when you can give back again. And I know that like I'm certainly getting to that place again. I know that when I was at uni, I was in that place and I was fighting for all the causes I believed in. And now finally 4 years later, I feel I'm back in that position again where I can again fight for the things that I believe in. I think if I had tried, I know I protested and did things like that, but I wasn't mentally in a place where I could have I probably could have made work, but I think I probably would have been so anxious and stressed out before making it that I wouldn't even have bothered.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to hear that you are feeling a lot more better yourself and doing the things that you want to do as well. And I've recently started to feel like this again, because I wasn't in a great relationship, so that was just a whole downside to it, and just not feeling like I want to do anything. So now, doing my own projects, actually being excited for some university projects that I've got coming up, and this podcast as well is just something to do on the side of actually working at university. So yeah.
Nice. No, it's good. It's good to have other things. I think that would be the other thing I'd recommend to university students. Have a side thing as well. Don't just do university work, because it's really valuable for yourself and also for when you finish. You've got other things to do as well. I think the students, when I worked back at university, the students that seemed to be doing the best were the ones that like had other things going on other than uni, and they all seem to be like more rounded individuals when they finish.
I remember you mentioned that you got a first. Yeah. So that is one of the questions that I don't get to talk to a lot of people about, because I still know a lot of undergrads. So how does the grade really matter? Does the first or a 2-1 get you the better jobs rather than like getting a 2-2 or the ones below? Does it actually make a difference, or is it more of like what you do on the side, the volunteering and the other things?
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like it definitely depends on you personally. Like I feel like if I hadn't have tried my hardest, I would have been really upset with myself. And it wasn't necessarily about getting first, but I just had to put in my all, because to me, it was like, what's the point in going to uni if I'm not going to try really hard? But in terms of like getting a job, I don't think it's massively relevant. It's more about your portfolio. In my final year, I volunteered at a refugee centre, so I was doing graphic design for them. So when I finished uni, I was more equipped to get a job and could get work and had freelance clients because I had been volunteering and offered my graphic design services. That's the other bit of advice, is if obviously it's harder at the moment, but volunteering, like just email some charities and things that you feel like you align with and say, hey, I'm a photographer or I'm a designer. I would love to work with your charity in any way that I possibly can. because I actually did get some photography work with them as well. So I would go take photos of like asylum seekers and stuff, like doing like gardening and things like that, and it was actually really, really fun. And I mean, again, grades don't mean anything. I have a friend, and hopefully he won't hear me say this, but he didn't really do much work at university. He was my housemate, just barely did any work. He was like the most relaxed guy ever, but just did like no work at all until like the last week. And he was like, oh shit, and just like basically did one project. He did do work, but all the work he got high grades in was group work with me and my other housemate. So I don't want to say it's already shit, but yeah. So on the actual grad show, he had his piece of work up, which was animation. Haven't got any other work in the show. Everyone else had loads. Someone just walked in and was like, I want to hire that guy. Like just pointed at work, and he got a job straight away. He was the first one out of everyone, out of the whole of the university, to get a job straight away. So he got a 2-2. So it's a fine grade. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it's affected his life in any way because he's doing really well. He works for the BBC now. So, and then there's like me. Obviously, I think it's just down to your personality because he's just super relaxed, calm, like is up for whatever and like super social. Whereas like for myself, I was obviously quite like highly strung. So like the idea of not getting a job that was perfect right away was worse than like even applying in the first place.
I feel like I've seen this at school as well when I was younger. The people that don't put in the effort actually are the ones that are like get the opportunities, are the smart ones, and it's like
yeah. I mean, it's not always though. Because there was another girl in our year whose work was just amazing the whole way through, and she got first as well, and she's doing really well. So I think
it depends a lot, doesn't it? Yeah.
Definitely. It's definitely on how much you apply yourself and how much you just reach out to people and just believing in yourself. Like I think if I had believed in myself and I'd finished uni, I would have sent out messages to studios and things that I wanted to work with. But then I also think part of it was not even knowing if like it was the career that I even wanted to go into.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's
understandable though, because there are a lot of well, as creatives, we explore different skills in so many ways. So it is like, do I want to be stuck in this? Not stuck, but like.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're never gonna be stuck. So that's the thing. But when I was 21 or whatever, I was like, oh no, if I get this job like doing graphic design for a PowerPoint company, I'll be stuck in there forever. And it's not true. Like we're in a time where people actually do change jobs quite regularly. If it's not right, you can change. And I mean, I think we're also again I know it always has been a generation more of people who work for themselves, who set up their online businesses, and I think it is becoming more common for people to be freelance and to work on their own, because you don't need to necessarily work for a studio because we have the internet and you can connect to people online.
Yeah, for sure, definitely
more exposing, but
yeah. So yeah, I think I asked all the questions that I wanted to. It's been really nice talking to you.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you too. Yeah. Nice to meet you properly.
Yeah, definitely. We'll keep in touch, and yeah.
All right, I'll let you get on then.
Yeah, thank you. It's been lovely to chat to you, and have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
And good luck as well in everything you do.
Oh, thank you. Good luck. You're going to smash it. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.